Alrighty, so we've talked about textures. Now I want to move on to your Heliodons. So a Heliodon manages all the sunlight settings based on the position of the sun for a given place, date, and time setting. Okay, they represent, you can create a Heliodon for each new view that you create. Okay, and these are your viewports over here. Right, so I'm going to pop over to my Heliodons inspector, and I've moved outside just so you can see what's going on. Right, and you'll see here on the left hand side that there are 3 different options. The first option, which is currently highlighted, is your geographical location. So you can choose a location, set a city, a time of year, and a time of day. The second option down is the manual option. Okay, so set the sun manually by dragging the sun along a circle in your 2D view. And then we have your 45-degree projection. So it sets the position of the sun to 45 degrees upwards and to the left of the camera. Okay, which is the most photogenic option. So the first option, the geographical, we've got our date options across the top, and you can see that I can change, so the 30th of the 4th. All right. Then in the middle, we've got our time options, so the time of day. You can make it early in the morning, and you see it goes black because there's no sun. And then underneath that, we've got our location. So at the moment, it's set to SketchUp, and you'll see there's a list of cities here. All right, and I can choose Melbourne if I want to. Okay, you'll notice that's the same as Fast Eddie's. You can choose Sydney. It's up to you. Okay, then we've got the sun, and this is the power of the sun. So the way you drag this slider will decrease the power of the sun or increase it. Okay, then we've got the sky, so the strength of the sunlight color underneath. Then we've got our sunbeam. Do we want a sunbeam, or do we just generally want some sun showing? Okay, we've got the saturation of the sky color. And then do we want a lens flare? Okay, and you can create the different types if you want them. I'm just going to turn that option off. A really fun thing with this is your sky. Okay, so where it says edit here, if we click edit, we get this window pop up. Okay, and I'm going to activate is turned on, and we can see that we have got all of these funny names here. Okay, they are the names of different types of clouds, and we can increase or decrease a certain type of cloud in our space if we want to. And as you can see, it drastically affects what your model looks like. We can increase the pollution in the air. We can change the sky color. We could have a pink sky if we wanted to. Alrighty, it's up to you guys. Yeah, so it really depends on the type of clouds and things that you want. So I quite like that. Okay, when you're happy, you can click OK. Right, so depending on how you are going to show your scene, you may want to create multiple Heliodon or sun options. Okay, and by doing that, you can click on this button here. And that will give me a new sun. Okay, so this means that if I head over to my perspectives, for each image that I've got here, I could have a different sun to show it in a different light. And I would simply change this name. Okay, so in my Heliodon, I've got one that's called SketchUp and one that's called SketchUp 1, but I could call one dusk and I could call one midday if I wanted to. Which means when I'm in my perspectives, I could go, okay, I'm in this one and I want it to have dusk lighting or midday lighting. Okay. If I want to turn it on for the current view, I can right click and say activate or deactivate for current view if I want. If I want to delete it, I can click on delete there. Okay, and it's white and this one's black. Okay, so the white means that it is activated. Right. We've also got our manual sun settings. So I can just rotate this around and it changes where the sun's coming from, and also the around the model. So that dot in the middle is the model. And then the elevation is the angle that the sun is on. Okay, I could also turn the sunbeam off and on here, the same as before. Edit the power of the sun in the sky, the saturation, and the clouds again. The advantage with this manual view is if I open my 2D view, I get the sun circle around my model and I can move it around and I can see exactly where it's pointing. And if I move to elevation, we can see it there too. And you can see in the preview display, it generates previews as you go around. Okay, so these are your Heliodons, your natural light. Now to enhance your natural light, you often want to add some ground. So if we head to our perspectives inspector, we can see here that we have the ground option. Okay, so if I untick that, you'll see it just goes blue, which isn't helpful. If I tick ground, in a moment when it catches up, that turns on the ground option. If I click where it says ground, I can edit the shader. And if I open my media catalog and come to the ground options, you'll see there are different types of lawn that I could have if I wanted to. Okay, and they really affect the way your model looks in the end. So I definitely don't like that brown, so I'm going to put some green back in. And then I have my ground, so it's looking much better. All right, and you can again change the way it's projecting, its color. I could have yellow if I wanted to, more greeny. I quite like that actually, quite a nice dark green. I can change the projection again, and then of course, okay, while it's all updating, and it's looking pretty good. I'm going to make this smaller so we can see again, and I'm thinking maybe my sky needs to be a bit more blue. Oh, too. Okay, I quite like that, and I'm going to turn the saturation up a little. Okay, so my modern cabin is slowly coming into formation and starting to look more and more like I want. Okay, so as I move around my model, okay, and we can see here that I've got, say I might be happy with this. Yep, and the sun's reflecting, the sun's all looking nice, and I'm really happy. I can see that, or maybe I'll put my midday sun on. You can see that my preview changes again. So it's really good to have a few Heliodons set up, okay, to show your model in different lights and what works best for inside and what works best for outside, because they won't be the same. Okay, if I head inside now, I'm pretty sure that inside might be a little dark potentially. Yeah, okay, so the sun's coming in from one side. I can see where the sun is coming in from, okay, on this model. And it's coming onto the floor. So it's not showing a whole lot of my model, But maybe next week, once I get my artificial light into it, it might start to look better. Okay, because there's no point just turning the sun all the way up when you're inside for your final renders, because it just looks overexposed and not very realistic. So what we're trying to do by creating these different heliodons is making the inside more realistic. And remember, with your fast eddies, only one tiny little part of it has windows, okay, which is going to let in your natural light. All right, thanks guys.